Hello, everybody. I am Grace Summers, and I am joined by.
Checkable reality.
Yes, and today I definitely wanted to get on the topic of dating in uh, the trans community, or dating as a person who's trans, or dating someone who is trans, which would definitely be I think it's a very important conversation to always discuss. So,
Dating in general is a pretty important
yes, it actually
discussion.
is. It really is.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, dating as a person who, well, just dating in general is always very important because having that communication is always very crucial, and I think it's key to have um, that that ability to communicate well. Because if you don't have a communication, then problems can come around. And yeah, I know that sometimes when you're dating as a in a whole, it can be very problematic. So I was going to think about talking when it comes to dating as a person and how things can make you feel very comfortable versus uncomfortable, and maybe to avoid some red flags, some warning signs. And I definitely wanted to have it with you, have a conversation with you. And what better way than to be halfway across the country?
Halfway across the country.
It pretty much is.
The entire way.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Pretty much is. So, anyways, um, I was going to ask, have you had any experiences dating somebody who, well, is trans, or dating as a person being trans altogether?
I mean, a lot of my experience in the dating field as a transsexual comes from talking to people online. Um, it's it can be difficult to find like a proper website to go to both find like regular people, regular individuals, but also to not be like basically. Because, I mean, there's a huge problem online in general with people pretending to be people that they're not. In the transsexual community, going online, saying, for example, they're female, or if they're, MTF, saying that they're FTM, saying that they're male, like, it can be seen as lying. Like, a lot of people see that as, like, lying. Because what they're looking for most of the time, if they're looking for a woman, they're looking for a cis woman. They're looking for someone who was born with, female parts, doesn't have like all the complications of being trans. And if they're looking for male, they're looking for the exact opposite. They're looking for someone who's born with male parts and male anatomy, like all that. And obviously, being trans isn't quite that. And of course, there are plenty of straight men who don't have a problem dating a trans woman and vice versa. But that's something. If I had to give any advice to a transsexual, I would say honesty is key. Don't, whether you're doing it online or in person, like, to not try and hide that fact. I mean, obviously, because I mean, there are people who say like, "Oh, every interaction you have, you need to tell them," and that's not exactly true.
Yeah.
But on some level, you need to have it when you're trying to date somebody. You need to have that be a discussion that you have. Like, are you okay with this? And also understand that just because somebody doesn't want to date you doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Just because they personally, because I mean that's quite something that you have to deal with. I mean, whether the pre-op or post-op, I mean that's one of the first questions I get asked, even if it is somebody who wants who would be willing to date a trans person, is have I had that surgery? And my answer is of course no. But for some people that can be a problem. So I mean it can be complicated dating as a transsexual.
Right. I know that there are people who aren't. You definitely were making some good points about the pre-op and post-op, because I do know that there are some people who ask that of me.
And even hormones. I mean,
yeah.
You've started hormones, which is a big step both in your own personal life and in how people online will interact with you. Because there's a lot of people that I'll talk to, or that I was talking to, who would ask, have I started hormones? And the answer is no. And they're basically like, oh, so you're just a man in a dress. And of course, that's not how I feel about it. But, I mean, on a biological level, like, it's kind of hard to be like, to disagree with that. And a lot of people don't want to date, someone who's just wearing the clothes but not doing any of the other actions.
Right. And you have people who want to date somebody who is based off of, like you said, the genitalia of like the one gender, and some people identify as bisexual, but they're okay with dating either men or trans male, or they're either dating women or trans women, and that is a thing that some people make a personal preference on. And you definitely have some people who are not okay with certain aspects, and that's where the communication becomes key.
I mean, me personally, like I would consider myself pansexual, which is bisexual, but it also includes the trans community, because there are some bisexuals, and this is kind of a sticking point for some people, is they don't realize that just because you're bisexual and you would like to date either a man or a female, doesn't necessarily mean that you're okay with kind of that middle ground there of being trans. I personally am pansexual. I like dating trans people. I actually find a nice quality in dating a pre-op transsexual rather than maybe a cis woman. That there is something that I can get from that kind of a relationship that is different. I mean, it's different dating a transsexual rather than dating somebody of who's fine in their birth gender, in their birth sex.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of regular cis people who, I mean, I've talked to many who don't have a problem dating a transgendered person. I mean, Blair White, who's a YouTuber, her boyfriend is a cis male, identifies as straight, but is dating, like seriously dating, a transgendered person, which is a great example of that. So,
yeah.
Just because somebody that you like doesn't necessarily like you, doesn't necessarily appreciate that part of you, doesn't mean that somebody else won't. And I certainly don't think that lying is the answer to that. There are a lot of, the reason I keep saying that is there are a lot of transsexuals who pass pretty well, and they'll go out and they'll try meeting straight people, and as soon as the straight person realizes, oh, this is a transsexual, the transsexual will get hurt. Like, hurt seriously. Like, it happens.
Yeah.
And I would like to mitigate that as much as possible. If that's the type of person you're going after, I think you're going after the wrong type of person, first of all. Um, and secondly, there's a lot to be scared of as a transsexual without being fearful that the person you're hitting on is gonna beat you up. I think there's a lot more appreciation from people like that when you are straightforward about it, and that they can make that decision there rather than you get to the bedroom and then suddenly
It's just nothing but questions.
yeah, it's nothing but questions.
Yeah, and when you have when you're trying to date somebody, having that communication, I would say, would be crucial.
Communication's key no matter what relationship you're having, long distance especially.
Right. Because if you aren't communicating certain things, then that's when problems come around, and that's usually when people start questioning and people start having that trust issues, and that lack of trust is what could definitely push somebody away. So I think that is very, I'd want to say that's very crucial in any relationship, and being able to identify and let the other person know who you are as a person and what you want in a relationship, I would want to say would be very crucial, but that also ties in with the communication. And also, I want to say that having that connection of like being able to make a safe word, especially in the community or in the relationship, because you guys want to be able to have a stopping point for when things start going on in a relationship. If you are not feeling comfortable, being able to have a word that you use could definitely help the other person understand, hey, I'm not okay with this and I don't want this. And at least that's, I want to say that's also a very important part into a relationship.
And being trans doesn't mean you have to settle. That's something that you don't have to settle for a person who's hypersexual if you're not, which a lot of people who are trans, even before, I mean, hormones obviously puts a real killer on your libido, but even before starting hormones, a lot of trans people report having a low libido even beforehand. And I know that you've talked about the fact that there is sort of a community online of fetishizing sort of transsexuals and people like that. I mean, this term, chicks with, D's and
Right.
all that kind of thing. And if you're online, even if you're honest, there are a lot of guys who will fetishize the fact that you are trans, and while that might feel attractive at first, and while that might feel good at first, as somebody's not only accepting but is actually super excited about the fact that you're trans, if that's not where you are sexually, or you don't feel comfortable with that sexually, I would say don't necessarily jump into that kind of relationship, because that's unhealthy and will ultimately leave you feeling pretty trashy when
Yeah.
you know.
Or even like empty at the end because you're not feeling welcomed for who you are, maybe mentally or emotionally, but you come to a term with that they're just there for your body, and that may not feel okay.
And yeah, and also for people who are just discovering for themselves, maybe they've known for a long time and they just started feeling comfortable trying to come out and trying to start their new life. A lot of people in those circumstances, I was one, are already in some sort of a relationship like that, and Maybe they're in that relationship for a long time prior to this happening. And I, the best advice that I can give for somebody in that type of situation is to not feel bitter towards the other person if you tell them and that changes your relationship. Like that, for some people, that that change isn't as big of a deal, or maybe they can deal with that. Maybe they deal with it for so long, and then eventually it becomes real to them. And they realize you're not just doing that as like a part-time thing. You want to live that way. I would suggest not feeling. It's hard to not feel better towards it because it feels like someone who you've put a lot of time and passion into is kind of abandoning you when you're just starting to be your real self. But it's you kind of have to think about it from their point of view. I mean, this is if you met them and you were male and this is what your relationship started out as, and now you're saying that you want to be a female and you want to start going by this name and doing these things. I mean, there are a lot of women who won't feel comfortable with that, or a lot of males who won't feel comfortable with you changing genders like that and changing your whole lifestyle. It's a whole lifestyle change. I mean, gender is a huge part of what makes us who we are. It's a huge part of how others interact with us every single day. You know, I mean, it's all the way down to it's the first thing you figure out about a baby. You know, it's one of the first things that any parents want to find out about their child is you know, whether they're a male or a female.
Right.
And it's you know, one of the first things you look for when you're looking for a relationship. Because most people aren't bisexual. Most of them are, you know, straight or gay. And so they're looking for that other. Either if they're straight, they're looking for the opposite sex, or if they're gay, they're looking for the same sex. And just because you're the same person inside, like inside you've never changed, doesn't mean that they're gonna see that necessarily. And maybe you still stay friends afterwards. I mean, you don't have to lose that relationship altogether. And I certainly don't think that coming out of trans means you need to break up with your current significant other. Not at all. But it's certainly something that you need to be prepared for if you are in a relationship like that.
Yeah.
And it hurts. I mean, it does hurt when it happens, but I would never suggest that somebody stay in a relationship just because someone stays in the closet just because they want to keep the relationship.
Right, and that's not good. Having the ability to understand the other person, like you were saying, pretty much like.
I don't know what you mean by I'm having a.
Taking a walk, like walk a mile in their shoes. You don't know what the other person's thinking until you actually look from their perspective, and you coming forward about being trans, it can change how the other person feels and how the other person thinks. And you may think that you won't change as a person as a whole, but you may down the road change emotionally, or you may change a way of thinking because of how the hormones react to your body.
Well,
That
because
could also
a
be
lot
a
of
thing.
people who are seeking males are looking for that kind of security and that kind of like, this person's going to take care of me kind of a thing, especially if they're women who are dating males. And when you're transitioning from male to female, you know, you're losing that kind of position. You're losing that kind of protective, like the ability to protect, or even if you can protect, it's a different role. You know, I mean, there's a huge thing between, you know, gender roles. And so a lot of women are going to feel like they're losing that part of you. And even if you're the same person inside, you don't fit that same kind of role when you're transitioning.
Right.
And I mean, it's the other way around. I mean, males who are seeking females are oftentimes seeking for somebody to be able to help them and take care of them in that kind of an emotional way, or that kind of a you know, it's just you fit a different role, and a lot of people aren't looking for that, you know.
Right. And having that, going back to the very first conversation we had, like the communication. And communication's crucial. When you're coming forward about something like that, it's very important to have that discussion about what you want and what you're okay with, because they will at least have an understanding, and it should be vice versa. They should be able to communicate and be comfortable communicating what is a thing that makes them feel better about themselves, or maybe a turn on in the relationship romantically, whatever the case may be. It varies based on a situation, and each relationship can be different. I've met a couple who literally didn't sleep in the same room. They slept in opposite beds, but they loved each other, and they never really had a romantic relationship, except for maybe the occasional kiss, and they were happy with each other, and it's okay. It's okay to have something like that, but I want to say the most important thing would be communication, being able to communicate.
I mean, I would say the most important thing is trust. I mean, above communication, if you can't trust your partner, that's a toxic relationship.
Right.
I've talked to so many people who are in relationships, and they'll talk to me about this relationship, and it's like, well, do you trust him? Do you trust her? And they'll say no. I'm like, well, then I don't know what the point of this relationship is. If you can't trust your partner, if you can't feel comfortable with your partner going somewhere for a week and knowing up here that they're not gonna mess around with somebody else unless they have your permission, or like do something that goes against some kind of principle in your relationship, then that's not a healthy relationship to be in. And if you're going to be in a long distance relationship, that is paramount. That's like 90% of that relationship at that point.
If trust.
It is trust, and then the rest of the 10% is communication. Maybe it's 80-20, with communication being that 20, because you also have to understand that sometimes in a long distance relationship, people aren't always able to talk to you when you're like ready to talk. If somebody's several time zones away, maybe they're asleep, maybe they're at work. That's where that trust comes in, is to know that they're going to have you in mind when they're making those types of decisions.
Right.
So, I mean, communication's important, trust is important.
Well, to be able to trust that they say that they're at work, or when they wake up, oh, I went to bed.
If you ever doubt that your partner is where they say they are, then that's not a healthy relationship. If they tell you that they are somewhere and you're like, no, they're not, well, then either they are untrustworthy or you have a hard time trusting. And neither one of those necessarily has to mean that either of you are horrible people. I don't think you're a horrible person if you don't trust your partner. And I don't think you're a horrible person just because your partner doesn't trust you. But there's obviously something that's not right going on in that relationship. Something happened, or somebody has said something, or just maybe somebody's just not in that right state of mind. It's not everyone's able to be in a long distance relationship. You know, if you two were together for a year and you were shooting it off, it's amazing, it's a wonderful relationship, and somebody has to go across country, I'm not saying you should break up. You should try and do it if you think you can. But if something happens where you realize I can't do this, I can't trust this person, or I can't handle not being able to see them every night, then you should not be afraid to say, I don't think this is gonna work. I'm sorry, you know. I think we should see other people if it's temporary, and if it's permanent, I don't think we can do this anymore.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. Like the trust. I want to say if you don't trust the person, then the communication is almost practically pointless because you don't trust what they're saying, you don't trust what they're doing, and if you don't trust their communication, then that definitely becomes a problem. I also know that if you're dating somebody who is trans, it doesn't mean that the relationship has to feel different, has to be different altogether. Because if you're dating somebody who is transgender, all in all, you're dating somebody, or dating someone, and whether or not they are based on what they identify as their gender doesn't mean anything. They're valid as a person as a whole. It does mean a lot, though, if you don't feel comfortable with that. And so having that communication, I think, and it's the same thing with the trust, I think it's crucial. It's very crucial to be able to understand one another and to be able to interact with each other in such a good way. And I know that there are a lot of YouTubers who have talked about the concept of dating just in general, dating as a whole, whether or not you're dating online or you're dating in person, that just dating and what things to look forward to.
I mean, yeah, like I said, being trans doesn't mean you have to settle, and you shouldn't settle, and you should never settle, even if you're disabled, or if you're trans, or if you're any kind of like a mainstream issue. Doesn't mean you need to settle, and you shouldn't settle. And as long as you're not settling, I've dated 5 cis people, and now I'm dating you, and I don't see it any different. It feels exactly the same, because you have that trust, we have that communication. It's perfectly normal to me.
Yeah.
Like date, like second to second, and I hardly ever think about that portion of the relationship, because we don't let that be something that's constantly on our mind.
Right.
It's not constantly on my mind, at least.
It's not on my mind either.
So
but I think that it was fun having this conversation with you. I definitely think we should be cutting the video. But it was very fun having a conversation. I'm glad I made the video with you. Really appreciate it.
I'm glad I had this discussion.
I'm glad you were a part of the video, right?
Now I'm a part of the video.
You're a part of my channel, my community.
My goodness.
My wonderful 30 subs.
And maybe your community become my community.
And your community can be my community.
Maybe I can finally get past 50 subscribers. 'Cause I've been sitting at 49 subscribers for can one person
on this channel sub to him.
Please come to Checkable Reality.
Go to Checkable Reality. I will put a link in the description down below. You can check. She'll be making a video of this entire trip and definitely be uploading this. I'm most likely going to upload this on Saturday. I will definitely edit it and cut it down, and then I'll upload it on Saturday.
Hey, maybe I'll make a video with Grace where we talk about something else.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be interesting.
It'd be very interesting to talk about something
political. My channel's political, so if you're...
Very political.
Very political.
So, if you are interested in politics and all the political...
Or if I just seem like a fun person you wanna
fun,
see.
witty person.
My channel's very personality driven, so...
But I hope you guys gals, peeps, have enjoyed this video. And if you have, please like it. That'd be very appreciative, and I would at least know that I'm doing a good job. And if you have any comments about dating in the community as a whole, or just dating in general, don't hesitate to put that in the comments down below. And don't hesitate to subscribe for more content. I'll be posting definitely more content in the future. But until then, you'll...
Stay frosty.
No, I don't say that. I don't say stay frosty.
Stay chilly.
No, I don't say stay chilly either. Just because I live in a place that's cold.
Stay cool.
No, I don't say that either. But until then, I'll see you whenever that may be.
Stay awesome. Cut.
Peace. Bye.